wanted to ask, okay,
Go ahead, Kat.
I wanted to ask Jared, didn't you say you had that book, The Holographic Universe?
Yeah, I've got a copy of it. I've read it once or twice. Yeah, Michael
Remember,
Talbot.
remember I asked you to look at the bottom of page 300? I remember I told you that, but I forget what it was about that I wanted to ask you about and discuss it. So maybe
Let
when
me
you get
see
a
if I can find it here. And let me see if I can find it. In the meantime, go ahead and
oh,
talk about something. I'm looking for it.
all right. Because we never got back to that. And I don't even remember what it was now, but I just thought it was something that we could trigger a discussion with, and you could help me understand whatever it was I didn't understand.
All right, what page was it? I found it. 300?
300 at the bottom.
Let me see here.
Like the last paragraph or something. It's at the end anyway of the page.
About Terrence McKenna?
I don't even remember what it was.
I don't know. It's just in the middle of a paragraph. Yeah. Might be a different copy. It's the end of the book.
Okay, maybe. I don't know. Like, I'm just, like the whole holographic thing comes into question. Like, what are we looking at? What are we seeing? What parts of it are, like, or fractals and all that, stuff like that. That's just newer to my questioning of things.
Yeah, like I was saying a minute ago before we started recording, this technology has been known to the public now for a few years. In general, to me, that means that it's been in existence for several decades, probably. But
Yeah.
what it is, it's holographic projections that you can hear and also touch, because I guess the way it works is it vibrates air molecules and makes it tangible. You can feel it. And so when I realized that that exists and they're letting us know about that, I extrapolated to just all of the so-called matter of this place, like our bodies, everything you can touch, everything, food, all kinds of material. It's basically the same thing. It's just some kind of holographic projection, I don't know, but it seems like it.
Yeah, I'm just wondering how to process it and how I can use it to the best, for my goals or whatever. I don't want to use the word escape. I don't know what word we should be using here. But how we can come to terms with it and deal with it, coming out of ignorance of not knowing about it for so long, and then they put it like in her face.
Yeah, it makes me wonder about the other realms too, like that are also, I guess Brandon calls them the other virtuals, like what we refer to as astral and etheric realms. I mean, if this is a hologram, but maybe either there's a frequency fence or something is making it more dense and less easy to manipulate with our minds, like it should be. I don't know. Maybe those other realms are just that's why all the abilities exist there, because there's not a frequency fence or something. Something tangibly different about those places and this place, because this appears to be like a so-called base reality. Every day you wake up here, because if you went to sleep one day here and you woke up there and you never came back here and this experience was just done, it wouldn't be a continual experience. So there's difference in quality going on. But I don't know.
Well, it definitely involves the frequencies, I'll say that.
Oh, absolutely.
I should move because I'm on a kind of a busy street. It seems like there's going to be kind of,
What do you guys think about the whole bell theory?
The what, bell?
Like bell, like those bells that the Masons took down in the past, like the ringing of the bells.
Oh.
The Taco Bell, the bell with the crack.
Like the Liberty Bell is broken and stuff too, right? That ancient bell. It's weird. There's all kinds of weird things like that.
Did you ever do a like a what do they call it when you take an image and fold it out and see the whole thing, like the eye on the Taco Bell sign, their logo?
The lizard eye.
Have you seen it where you take it and you, like, it's just half of it and then you double it, like the reflect, like repeat itself, and see how evil that thing looks?
Right, right. I've seen that like with the dollar, like different dollar bills from all across the world, like the mirror
Yeah,
effect.
that's what I was gonna say. That there was all kinds of weird stuff on the money. U.S.
Or
currency had weird things when you fold it.
that recent uh, portrait of that royal guy with the red background. You could do it with that too. It's like it's all over the place. King Charles, that's it. King Charles's portrait.
So what about the person that did it, or they had a heart attack while they were doing it?
Oh, really? I didn't hear that yet.
Oh, you didn't hear that? Yeah, I'm driving right now. I'm just going to go down to the marina. It's too noisy up here.
No problem.
So you guys can talk. I'll just listen.
All right, so what's the main topic for this one? Is there a main topic or is it a free talk?
I'd say free talk over a main topic. A little bit of both. But yeah, like as far as sovereignty goes, what are things you guys are doing to keep your own sovereignty, like to play the game but not to play the game while still here?
I literally declare my sovereignty. I just stand in my power. I say it out loud, and I use the velo technique, top of the head to the bottom of the feet, through every piece of your body with a wave back and forth from the bottom of your feet to the top of your head, and it charges your light body and it releases attachments. This might sound weird, but I've had dozens of experiences where I'll be in my room. It'll be nighttime because I'm usually up at night, sleep in the evening, and then I have a weird sleep cycle, biphasic sleep, where I sleep like 2 or 3 sessions, but not that long.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll be like, it'll be like 2 or 3 a.m., like that so-called witching hour, and um, the Wi-Fi is always on here because there's other people that live here and they never turn it off, so I got to deal with that, and it messes with my sleep too. But I'll be doing something. Maybe I'm on my phone. Maybe I'm reading a book, whatever. And I'll hear pops on the wall. These pops will start happening on the wall. And over the year, it's always happened to me. What I think it is like electrical beings or entities that pop in and out of our space. It's hyper jumping. When it pops into your space, it'll attach to your aura, your biofield. You'll feel like pressure on your head or like on somewhere on your body, some kind of sensation, right? So then when I've gotten so good at noticing it now, because some thought form will be attached with it that will make me have random weird like negative thought loop kind of thing. So I'll do the velo technique from top of the head to the bottom of the feet through up and down like a wave with energy, and it's charging your light body. And after about a few seconds to a few minutes of continuously doing that, the things will pop back out of my space because the velo technique forces them out because it's moving. The light body, the energy body, the astral body is getting exercise with this velo technique. And you'll hear the pop again on the wall, or I do. And then the pressure's gone, the thought forms are gone, and I defended myself psychically against whatever these things are. That's one technique for sovereignty. And once I learned that it worked every single time, I practice it every day. So I should practice it more than I do, but voluntary energetic longitudinal oscillation, VELO technique. So there is
Mm-hmm.
stuff we can do for psychic defense and sovereignty, but they're always going to be trying to violate sovereignty. Because, the thing about evil, the dark side, they don't respect sovereignty and whatever free will amount we have. They don't respect it. That's why they're evil. So, if there's good beings that could help you, I don't recommend asking them for help necessarily unless you know that that's what they are. Because if you can't see it and you're trying to like ask it in, could go all wrong maybe. So be careful.
Mm-hmm.
Jared, is that what you were talking, related to what you were talking about with the pops in your roof that were making noise? Or is that something else?
The popping on the roof, these pops I'm talking about, they happen everywhere. They're like on the walls, they're like on electrical devices like computers and TVs, ceiling, like near the attic. The one I was talking about on the live stream was just the material on the back porch. It just heats up and cools in the weather and just makes noises. But yeah,
not-
I'm sure you guys, I would imagine you've all heard the pops I'm talking about here and there. You just might not recognize what I'm talking about, but I almost guarantee it happens to you every day.
We're just not aware of it.
Well, it's like those sounds I hear when I try and take a cat nap or a daydream session that keep me awake.
So the thing there would be to do what Sabrina Wallace suggests, is to put up your shields every day and repel those negative energies.
Yep, exactly.
Have you all tried any of her techniques? The whatever it is. All I remember is she pumps her arms and gets a serious look on her face and says, "Shields, shields." And so I need to rewatch.
Can you do that piloerection like she does?
Sometimes, yeah.
You can actually make it. I haven't been able to do it at will.
I think it takes practice and focus, and not so much on that, but on getting those shields up. I'm trying to remember. I've done it before, but it was just for a little while. But I think there's something there to putting the shields up. You know, I even do like a shield of protection around myself. Remove any darkness within me, cast it out, and then I only allow my own true nature within, and then surround myself with a hedge of protection. In fact, I even go so far as before I leave the house, I blind the eyes of my enemies, is what I speak out over myself.
I like
So
it.
it's all
That
about
makes total sense. Yeah, cool.
Outside.
Melting as it is inside.
Yeah, it may be cooler out there. We'll just steaming. Hang on, guys.
Give us 1 second. We're going to switch spots. Okay, go ahead.
Ready now.
I just noticed, I was looking at, under the more, like the 3 buttons, and it has the list of stuff. It now has notes. It says it's new. How does that, what is that for? How does that work?
In there.
Do you see what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I can pull
Right
the note.
Right after the whiteboards, it says notes, and it says new behind it.
Yeah, we can add and share notes for each other.
Well, how do you use it? What do you do?
You just start a new note and say, I'm doing
Okay.
one now.
It's saying sign in to save your work. Where do I sign in? What does that mean?
You have to have like a Zoom login.
She did.
Oh, did she?
Okay, now today, I was just telling Carrie that today I did not have to use a password or anything to get here. But yesterday, it took me quite a while to figure out how to get on, and I did have to use a password. I had to go get a pen and write it down and do all that and type it in, but I didn't do that today at all.
Yeah, I'm not a pro with this. I'm still learning too. I don't know much
So
about.
I'm also wondering if other people, if I'm having problems getting in and I've been here already, imagine how hard it is for somebody that's never done it or never was on a panel or never used Zoom or whatever.
Right. No, I get it. It's like sometimes it will let me do it without the password and sometimes it won't.
Yeah, that's weird.
It tells me I have to have one form of security embedded into the meeting. So I'm still trying to work through all that.
But you're the host.
Yeah.
But I'm just wondering if anybody
up
is trying to get on and can't figure out how to do it. That's why I was suggesting that you put the link in the in the notice that you put up, that short just to announce the meeting?
It should be there in the
Which you
description.
did, yeah, see, it's there, it went up. But I thought that would be a lot easier than just leave people to figure out, well, where do I do? How do I get in? Where, you know?
Right. Yeah. No, you're right.
So not everybody would know to look into the community tab.
Right.
Some people would, but not everybody.
Yeah, I keep trying to create like a short through the YouTube Studio app, but it won't let me do a short. I don't know why that is. It wants me to upload a video every time.
I hate for people not to be able to get on because they can't figure it out.
Yeah, yeah. I would. Hopefully, they'll message me or make a comment.
Or leave a comment. Yeah. So I didn't see a lot of comments. You said you're getting a lot of comments. Where are the comments to read?
Just on different videos. When I go in and look through the studio, it shows me all the comments I haven't responded to, and so there's just like there'll be chunks of them at times. Okay. Yeah, it's like 1 or 2, 3 comments here on each video or something like that. I mean, what I'm saying is they're picking up. And
okay, so it's people watching the video, watching it after the fact.
Yeah,
it's
the
audio more. Okay,
right. I just posted.
Hey everybody.
Who we got? Pat Yuhan? Is that how you say it?
Batuhan.
Batuhan.
Welcome, man. How are
you? I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
We're doing okay. We're all kind of hot.
My first time here. Is this a regular thing? Huh?
We're getting there.
Starting to be.
Oh, okay.
Where are you, Batuhan?
I'm actually from Turkey.
Turkey. Oh. Huh. I noticed they started spelling it differently now.
Yeah, they say Turkey. It's the Turkish Turkey. But I don't know why they do that.
I know they're doing lots of silly stuff like that.
It
like
doesn't
Mandela
matter.
effect crap. I think it's just part of the gaslighting.
Yeah,
well,
maybe.
Makes us look crazier when we notice it and they don't.
Yeah. How can they not notice blatant things though? So I start to question which people are real. Like even my own daughter, I'm like, she can't see the things, and she's lived with me most of her life, and she knows things that I know, and she knows that I know things, but yet she can't go along with it, like because of the whatever is controlling her mind. And
seals and implants, maybe, huh?
And she did get like, she's taken the jabs, which I don't like that she's doing to herself and her son, and I didn't give her one her whole life. I never gave her one, and then she decided to do it to herself. She's done it a couple times. I don't know if she's going to continue to do it.
One thing about my country was that we had 2 choices of what, and one was from the newer technology, as you know, and the other was the former technology that we already got when we were a child. And I choose to get of course, the older technology.
Oh, they let you do that, really?
Yeah. Oh. The first choice was that the Chinese one, which had the older technology, not the new one. This, you know what?
Yeah.
And I did the choice. I had to, and I wasn't. If I had a choice, I wouldn't get neither of them, but I had to. So I said, I'll get the older technology.
What if they're just saying that though? If their whole goal is to get everyone inoculated as part of the transhumanism agenda, why would they give you the option to do something that's not going to do what their ultimate goal is to do. Like, are they just saying that they're giving you a choice and you're getting it either way?
Because you know what? They think they are guilt-free. When they do that, they make you think that it is your choice. They manipulate you and they say, your choice, your your consequences, not ours. So they think that they are karma free. That's their way, I
Yeah,
think.
like they're putting it on you that
Yeah,
you
yeah,
made
yeah.
a choice, so they're off the hook for
Not
what they
our
did
fault, they
because
say.
you consented. That's what they need is our
Yeah, yeah.
consent.
Yeah, because you know they sprinkle the information, their truth, they sprinkle it throughout the media, internet, and they say, if you make this choice, it is your choice, and we do not deal with the consequences. That's their mentality.
Hmm.
What are the consequences if you had refused either one?
Karma.
Oh, okay, I got you.
I mean, I'm telling you
Wow.
their perspective. I believe this is their perspective.
Are they in
This is
some
their,
way?
yeah.
Are they in some way forcing you to make one of the choices?
I
What would
don't
they
think
do if you deny them both? What do they actually like?
I don't think they
Put
they
you in
force
jail?
us.
I think his mic is off or something.
Not directly. Not directly, I think. They do not directly force us, but they pave the way to their choice with your consciousness. They manipulate your consciousness, your conscious decisions. And I mean, from my view, I was able to see the game, and I did not make that choice. So no, I can't say that they forced me. And I knew their game. It was so obvious. Um, and they actually made our people sign the document that says you are responsible for this choice. We do not deal with your consequences. They literally signed this paper in my country.
Wow.
Yeah, and but for only the newer technology. I'm talking about signing the paper, not the Chinese one, just for the you know, four-letter technology.
Well, I heard that, and I'm not so sure about this person. Do any of you know of Celeste Salom or whatever how her last name is pronounced? She wasn't. She was a former FEMA employee. She says that the Vax ingredients are in the food system.
Yeah,
at
they
least
had
here
to come up with
in
Plan B.
America, 2020.
Probably true. Probably true.
So they're looking for any avenue to get it in us. This.
Yeah, probably. They also spray into the air. Probably. I mean,
They're geoengineering food now with the chemical ingredients of those things in the food, like genetically putting it in the food. So
Yeah, and
it,
it's even saying it right on the labels. It says contains bioengineered food ingredients.
something called graphene.
I
yeah,
can't
well,
hear his voice is too low or his mic is audio. I can't hardly hear him.
what they say basically is if we don't stand up and stop them from doing it, then it's our fault. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
like
no, I'm sorry, I don't play that game.
yeah,
Well,
they
but it's
hypnotized
true.
they hypnotized everybody, and then everybody's supposed to make a informed decision. Sure.
But that's why they do that, so that we can't. See, they realize that we're powerful enough to push it back if we realize it. So that's where they cut down on our ability to realize or be aware that something is not right at all. But they have been putting it into our food supplies because what this whole thing taught them from 2019 was that some people are just going to refuse to accept what they feel is being imposed upon them. And so then
Yeah.
they come in the back door by putting it into the food supplies and disguising it under innocuous names that mean nothing except
You know what I think it is? That's the natural flavoring that they're putting in.
it is. That's part of it.
And that's in, like, I've been watching the food system for lots of years, and it just showed up like 4 years ago in this food supply on the labels, and they're making it look like, oh, we're no more artificial flavoring. But meanwhile, you look and you see that the natural flavoring is there in place of that. You know they're not going to put something good to replace something that was already bad.
Well, think of the word natural. The first three letters are NAT, like natal, baby.
Yeah, that's what I say. Babies are as natural as it gets.
Yeah, well, I'm saying the word itself is telling you the source of that natural sweetener. I think Cinecode is the name of the company. That's what they do with all these aborted fetuses.
I don't think it's, I didn't know it was known as a sweetener, though.
It is.
Okay.
That's
And
why
what
they
is-
harvest it.
That's why they what?
That's why they're harvesting it. Why else would anybody want to get into that industry? It's a multi-billion. Remember back in the 70s when there was all the big debate and it was a big hush hush deal and it was a, negative Nancy kind of situation to have an abortion. And now I know people that go and get one, every few months.
I just saw a guy he's going to
That's
transition
literally
and have
demonic possession, I believe. That is literally energy harvesting through demonic possession.
Absolutely.
That's I mean, can't get any worse than that.
Isn't that where the chimeras come in and stuff too?
I'm sorry, what?
Chimera,
Hmm.
The mixing of species.
Maybe part of it because they can take those fetuses because they don't always all of them die. They're not always all broken up, and so they could technically put them into a larger test tube and then start experimenting on mixing different genetic material from other species, which I totally believe they do. I think has happened before historically millions of years ago, and I believe it's happening now.
Yeah.
That's how you get a zombie apocalypse, like in the movies, but actually happening with the stuff they're messing with, dude.
Have you seen what's going on in Kensington by Philadelphia?
No.
All the drug addicts on this horse tranquilizer, and how it's zombifying them.
Yeah, whatever they show in Hollywood, when it's gonna happen or already happened. I mean,
Yeah.
they don't show any sci-fi. I think Matrix was documentary. It wasn't sci-fi. It was documentary from the first day, and now we know it is a documentary. I mean, who can deny at this point?
I lived in Pittsburgh when they filmed that movie there, The Night of the Living Dead.
Mhm.
That whole zombie movie, and that would have been back in the 60s, maybe 70s.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that long ago they were showing this stuff.
Yeah.
And
Fake alien invasion, maybe.
And that
It's in
whole
the books, I
the
believe.
Soylent Green movie was filmed in 1973, and the movie was set in the year 2022.
Mhm.
Back in the 70s, it was already 50 years ahead, talking about what was coming.
It's called predictive programming.
Yeah, I know.
That's
So
what
how
it
many
is.
years ahead? How many years ahead do you think they plan? Because I've heard people say 100,
100.
I've
I
heard
would
people-
think at least 100.
100
Yeah,
years.
100.
So
That's
okay.
what I think.
Maybe they get a harvest
Maybe.
every 100 years.
Yeah. Well, think about it too. The 1920s were like the roaring 20s, and it was debauchery and just all kind of disgraceful stuff like that. So that was like pretty much like 100 years ago. So maybe it's even before that.
But yeah, like the Cabbage Patch Kids and things like that, I think they just had a reset. They saved back some of them. It rendered some sterile. And so they had breeding farms that they called asylums of the people who remembered what was before. And they used them as breeders, and they kept them, you know, doped up. And then they had the orphan trains and the things of that nature to disperse and repopulate the areas.
And all the incubated
annihilated.
babies at the World's Fairs too.
Yeah, yeah. And buying and selling children, that's the one that got me, was the on the postcard. Mind Unveiled has some really, really good work on that on YouTube.
That was your catalyst for the whole thing, for your awakening.
Could have been. I think they're using that to repopulate, and they
What-
program people with all of their program lies of, this is what the history is, you must learn it, now take it out and you go be the teachers and the politicians, and you spread this God spell of what we tell you the world was like before it was destroyed, you know, before the last reset. It's a harvest as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. For me, it was the pandemic. Definitely. I
Yeah.
was 23 and it didn't make sense at all. Zero.
And all around the world too, that they could get everyone
Yeah.
on board with that like that.
Well, that's
I
the
was-
whole test.
What? Are you really? For this? It's just the flu. I was like,
Exactly.
what?
And then all of a sudden their flu didn't exist anymore. So they had no numbers for it because they used all those
You know.
numbers for the flu for COVID.
Yeah. It was, the flu is worse. I mean, was worse.
Well, the flu
Literally.
is just a detox. And that happens
Yeah.
twice a year for everybody pretty much. And people, it's a resonance thing. Just, you know, people don't understand the resonance. It's just like when women hang out together, they get their periods together. The same thing
Yeah.
with the flu. It's a resonance thing.
That was my awakening, definitely, because it didn't make sense. So I was wondering, what is the source of this? So I went digging deeper. Yeah. Boom.
Found a
think
lot of
some-
stuff.
I think some people woke up, but even more people went deeper asleep.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like people are really waking
Yeah.
up. It seems like they're going down, down, and down
I
more.
agree. I
Getting in the
absolutely
rabbit
agree with
holes.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, keeping them all distracted from what they should be looking at.
See, again, that was a choice. Yeah. Some choose to go sleep even deeper. Some choose to wake up. I mean,
I think it's a lot of things, like with the COVID stuff. I mean, when I got 2 shots, but I personally felt no difference. Like they didn't affect me the way they affected a lot of other people. And it could be a placebo thing. It could be a test. You know, it could be my DNA. It could be a lot of things. But they're almost like timestamps of a script that's playing out. Like for me, I question stuff basically since I was 8 years old, because that's when I found out I was adopted and that I had been lied to for my entire life to that point. And I thought, well, I can't trust my parents. I can't trust anybody.
That's what I went through about that time too.
And then there was the 9/11 stuff that just felt weird. Like I remember being in my basement, which was my room, and I felt like I could see, it was kind of like a scene out of Red Dawn. Like I saw enemy invaders of a Russian variety, I guess, like walking down our streets with guns. It's like, it was an image that was just in my head for whatever reason.
yeah,
But
that
it's
was like a ritual on life.
Yeah.
That
And
that is my first earliest memory. 9/11.
Yeah. Like,
I was
so
like 4
like-
years old.
it's like a big event, you know, and
Yeah,
I think like for me with the shot stuff or jabs, whatever, I think what they do for the true beings that are here, at least the benevolent ones, it's almost like it amplifies what's already inside of you. So if I was questioning it, I didn't care to look into it. I ended up doing it because my soon-to-be ex-wife was telling me I needed to, because we have kids, and she was worried about the kids getting it, supposedly, But I think it amplifies what's already inside of you, and for the dark side or whatever, if they have any blind spot, it's to know where we all are. Even saying that, I think they already know like where we're at all times. But it's almost like they are able to spot and try and control those who are going to push back, who are going to bring truth or have a bigger purpose here. It's almost a way to identify them.
Do you know that they know your thought 6 seconds before you even conceive it?
See, I agree with that.
That's true.
I don't think that they know my thoughts, and I'll say here's why. Because when I've been in conversations with other beings, and I'm sensing that I'm being deceived, and I'll call it out, it's almost like they change face, because they can. I don't think that they can. A true being, they cannot read their mind. I really don't. I know there's the remote neural monitoring and things of that nature, but I don't think it's applied. See, that's kind of the issue with a lot of the deeper stuff. They think that, or at least truthers think that, oh, okay, I saw this, and this is the way it is, when it's a multifaceted thing for multifaceted people. So whereas it might be that way for a select group of people, it's not like that for all of us. Thank you. So I don't think that they can read our mind. That's what, if they could read our mind, they wouldn't need a patent for the AirPods to be able to read the neurons in your brain.
They wouldn't need to connect us
Right, exactly. Because
technologically.
if they could read our mind, they would have no need
To do what
read. Yeah, so there's something that they can't do, right? Which is access the heart, which is why they target it in every direction possible with every material item you can think of. And that's why they target the brain through remote neural monitoring, through AirPod, and so on and so on. So then what do they say? Oh, we're going to get in the DNA of these guys and maybe figure it out that way. Or we're going to get into the root chakra.
Yeah.
So
It is so clear. I believe it's so clear. They want to create a high mind.
oh,
But
absolutely.
to create that high mind, they need input from everyone. Everyone at the same time.
Correct. And this is
They
when
are trying to figure that out, I think.
they want what they cannot have, where they've already either signed it away, given it away, sold it, whatever you want to call it. They are incapable of accessing our essence. And it's like Indiana Jones in the Temple of Doom. The guy takes out that he's in that temple and he's taking out the heart because he thinks that's where the essence lies. Well, that's not where it lies, and that's why it's a farce. It's almost like it's not here. It's not here. They're looking for something that they can't find. They're looking. It's the same story of the Holy Grail, which they say is within, and they can't get there. It's impossible. It's the mission impossible, but they're continuing to try and do it, and they're just stuck there.
That's
Because-
Dark City, bro. Dark
Focus
City.
their life
man.
in all the wrong places.
Exactly.
Dark City. They kept injecting the guy's forehead, looking where the first eye or the third eye pineal gland is, all the people there. And at the end, he just says, "You looked in the wrong spot. That's why you didn't find it." Like the soul or whatever they were looking for.
Right. They think they're so smart and tricky, but it's almost they're searching for something that is invisible, ineffable, that they just don't have. And they've tried everything in their power to find it, because once it's left you, once you say, "I don't want to be part of this," or I'm selling it to you, I'm casting my crown for this, I need a Lord and Savior. It's all the same stuff. Once you give your power away,
They take it.
they run with it, and then eventually they're going to say, "Well, crap, I need it back because I want it out of here," or whatever. And so they're going to lie, cheat, steal, and do all the things to try and find it. But it's already been absorbed in what's the word? Assimilated
Mm-hmm.
to the hive Borg mind. the singularity.
Well, because we're the ones training it. If you think about it, every time we get on the computer and we start asking questions or giving answers or whatever, we're the ones programming the singularity. And so once that has become satiated, we'll no longer be necessary because it will have acquired all of the intelligence that it needs in order to function. And so it goes back into the planned obsolescence.
Which is like that quote you mentioned in the Bible, where it's they already have the machine that they can run their life off of.
Oh, it's in Isaiah, I think it's 49. It talks about that they have found the life of their own hands and they're not even ashamed. So what that means is that these entities have found a source, a battery source, an energetic source to enable them to continue their existence here after we are gone. We take our own isness and we get the hell out of Dodge. And so that's what they're looking for. I even read accounts where people, say they were abducted by aliens. It doesn't matter to me what anyone believes about it. But for these people, what came out of this interview was that they had been taken somewhere and were being poked and prodded on. And the aliens kept asking them, where is your soul? Where is your soul? And they wanted to remove that organ, to plug into their musical machine. And that always stuck with me. And that's probably been 10 years ago when I heard that. I thought, how stupid.
I keep going back to why. Like, if there's advanced technology and aliens out there that are outside or inside the firmament, different densities, and they're so enlightened and intelligent. Okay, well, why do they keep themselves hidden? Why do they stay in the shadows? Why do they fill this place with full? Like, why would just keep asking why? And it's like when you have a kid and they're young and innocent and they're trying to understand this place. It's I often relate it to like being in a car ride with a 5 or 6 year old. They'll say, well, why is the grass green? And then you'll say the answer. And then they'll say, well, why is that? And you'll say another answer. And why is that? It's
never ending why.
It's the curiosity, right? It's that doesn't make much sense. So why is that? Okay, there's that answer. Well, that doesn't really add up or resonate. Well, why is that? That's why you learn so much from kids, and that's why they target kids so heavily with school and tablets and vaccines and all the things. Indoctrinated parents. Hey, go have more kids. People that are sleepwalking, please have more kids. It's just rinse and repeat over and over.
You've got feeders and breeders.
Yep.
Because we're the chattel cattle. We're the harvest. They're the ones that have hired managers, hired hands to tend to the garden, the guarded den. Den is where dragons and serpents live.
And yeah, I had a thought that just escaped me. They mind wiped me. Their efforts. But that's okay. So that's why it's important to quote the Bible, to be in the world but not of the world. Okay, well, I recognize what's going on. Do I go for the good side and play on the team light, or do I play on the team dark because everything's nihilistic and there's just no hope?
Neither.
I don't want to do either, because if I don't do either, I don't consent, I don't participate, and therefore I will be rejected from the system, ejected back to where I belong, which is not in this construct.
Yeah.
Of the duality. I
Don't
agree.
play the game. It's the only way to win is to not play, man.
It's
I
War
agree.
Games. It's the movie War Games.
Duality.
Most important message in that film was
Yep.
we're literally playing that Chinese game that's an unwinnable game, because when you choose to play, you're giving consent. And once you have consent, they can toy with you until you realize, oh, the only way to win is to walk
To
away
not
from
play.
it.
To not play.
And thus removing the batteries, however you want to metaphorically look at that.
No,
We know we're the batteries. We're the gold. We're all that. But if they don't have it, then they just go away. Like they literally dissolve into nothing.
Right. So they spray lithium, so we forget continually who we really are, and we're not able to stand in our own power and push back against the constant assault and the constant invasion of ourselves. Because at some point we have consented. We have agreed to, the user agreements nobody ever reads, but they want to partake of the program or the app or whatever. So they go click down at the bottom and check. we don't know what we're agreeing to. It's the same thing, just like when different governments pass new rules, and the quote unquote leaders get up there and they discuss things, and they go have backroom chats and pat each other on the back for adding in this and that and the other thing, and then they hand it to the people. Well, they don't tell them about all the secret backroom deals that go on, so the public thinks, well, we got funding for new streets, and but it's also tied to you're going to have this kind of place set up here in your town, and you're going to have this set over there, and well, we didn't ask for that. Well, you consented to it, you passed the bill. And so at some points we've given consent, and so that's why I think in part of standing in our own sovereignty is withdrawing any and all consents, whether we're aware or unaware, that gives them access. If we have nothing in common with them, they cannot access us. And this is so crucially important. And this is played out in many writings. And I refer back to the New Testament. Even the demons that would come up to the Yeshua or the one they call Jesus, they would ask him, well, what do we have in common with you? In other words, where is an access point where we can get in and really ruin your world? And so he had nothing in common with them. And that's why he could walk out after going and handing their butts to them basically on a platter in their own church, reading their own, or synagogue, reading their own rules, their own writings from their own prophets, which he said that were all liars. Then he could walk out through the midst when they all got in an uproar about it and start to carry him out and pitch him out over a cliff. It says he just walked out through the midst. That is who we are. That, I think, is the kind of power that we will have when we step fully into our own sovereignty. But it's all about frequency. It's all about vibration. And if we're at such a level they can't detect us, they will never see us. Just like we can't see them all around us right now. We're probably looking square in the face to whatever entities they are, because they're in a higher level of energies, and it's beyond what our human eyes can pick up. And so we're oblivious to it. So we think our 5% ability to see the color spectrum is all the light that there is, and it's not. There's 95% more. And there could be traffic and all kinds of stuff going on through here that we just can't see. We can't perceive it because we're in these bodysuits, these garments that even the word broken down, it means a cover of blindness, a veil. And so this is our trap. And it makes it easier for them to control through the backbone control panel, and then all the crazy things that they've got tied to that now with the juice flow and all that BS. It blows my mind. But I know one morning I woke up and Brandon.
Are you talking about a crenodrome?
Talking about semen retention.
Oh, okay.
Backbone juice, so nasty.
Backbone
shit.
juice.
And then I started, God, it's horrible. I saw the word, and I don't mean to offend anybody, but the word spine works into penis.
What word?
It's an anagram for penis. Spine.
Oh, spine. Okay. I'm
Just
missing words, and I'm trying to put things together, and I don't know if it's cutting out or what it's doing, but it's making it
Feel
difficult.
free to ask us to repeat or go.
Oh yeah.
Whatever. Like it's like the idea of like Christian is an anagram for Antichrist, but nobody cares to.
Yeah.
They don't want to see. They don't want to know.
Because it's not limited just to that. It's
not a one-way thinking.
included, and that's what the difficulty with the English language is, that we've been told that it only means this one way, this one thing all the time. Therefore, thou shalt bow down before this word. And I'm like, no, because if the numerical value is the same and you move the letters around, then that gives you a more thorough picture of the other elements that are also tied to that word.
It's like Satan and Santa. It's the same thing. Yeah. And all these words mean more than one thing. Like you look at start getting into the deep etymology, and then know that you can interchange vowels. And I think it's, what is it, D and T and J and something else. Like you start to interchange these letters, and things start to really fall in place. And so that words really are spells,
Mhm.
and it's all, and that goes back to intention as well. But yeah, do you have a question, Kat?
No, I'm just listening.
I get to where I start rambling because I don't want to say frustrated.
I
Well,
get excited.
I get it. It's like, yeah, it's like a
Yeah, I get
frustration
excited too.
towards this place that it's like literally a labyrinth, and we're all blind mice. I mean, imagine putting
The play of duality is what it is.
yeah,
Yes.
if you want to transcend and not ascend or descend,
Trance and
Rise above duality.
we want to end the trance of all this duality. It's not this way where we come from, or else we wouldn't be asking and looking into the things we are. Because even though we've looked at the New Age and we looked at religious stuff and we've looked at science and all the different concepts, we still know that there's something that's missing, right? Like there's a reason for that. We know there's more, and this can't be it. And they want us to think that. So.
You know, on the topic of duality, I mentioned on one of the live streams I did like in the past month. I was thinking about this yin yang symbol, this ancient symbol, the light and the dark, the yin and the yang, or yin and yang. They have a dot of the one and the other. And I realized when I was looking at it, kind of meditating, looking at the symbol, and I realized like this symbol is a lie, right? Because it's not. There's also neutrality here. This symbol was designed wrong. There should be 3 parts to it, and then the way that breaks down would be like the classic Father, Mother, and Son. The Holy Father, the Holy Mother, the Holy Son and Child, right? So I mean, there's at least more than duality, or however you want to look at it. But I just was thinking about that.
Okay, this is going to sound very nerdy.
I think that's partly fear porn too, to keep people. They think they're forcing the idea of balance. Like there has to be for all the evil, there has to be good for the evil and evil for the good, and I don't buy that shit.
Stockholm
It's
syndrome.
the same thing as red versus blue, balance of the force.
Yeah,
It's, I'm going to sound nerdy, but there was a video game that I didn't play that I just happened to see like the secret endings to. It's called Smash Brothers, something like Super Ultimate, whatever. It's like one of the newer ones. Well, the ending was the dark side, like the bad guys, the villains, beating the good guys, heroes. And then the second ending was the good side beating the dark side. But there was a really secret ending, which had this hidden invisible hand that took down both
sides. Yeah.
both the false light and the dark side. I'm like, it's literally in everything when you think about it.
I think that's
You
what
can see that. You can actually see that in action right now.
Oh, yeah.
Because the dark and the light make the generator that feeds the larger containment field above it. This is the lower part of it, that even within it is a higher and a lower part, and it is by design in this lower these lower densities to push against each other, and it's the opposition is what creates the energy required by the larger entity, call it Yaldabaoth or whatever, by his 2 lower portions pushing against each other. And so we escape the one of duality in order to go into what they're calling the ascended masters and the higher level, which is all good and fine. But my idea is that we get the heck out of the entire shooting match.
While y'all are talking, I'm going to draw something. I just like drawing, I guess. On the
whiteboard.
Yeah. So continue on. I'm just going to try and illustrate something that I see in my head, right? So this is cut off from eternity. And here you have the right side up, we'll call it, and the upside down. Think stranger. Jared and I were talking about this the other day. That last one's supposed to be a head. Okay, that is the positive and the negative. When you think about that, like Carrie was saying, as a generator, like it's a fan that's cycling back on itself, which is the same thing as a snake eating its own tail.
Ouroboros.
Right. So in this captivity, you have 5 down here, and this is your 7 heavens, and that is your 12-dimensional die, meaning 2, meaning to split. Density, you call them densities, you can call them realms, you can call them whatever. But if
Why
we
is
look
it 7 and 5?
because
I know you said 7 heavens and 5 is what?
Just 7 upper and 5 lower. That's what almost all the ancient texts have, some kind of a division like that. And so that ultimately that makes 12 altogether.
Well, why would it be uneven numbers though?
Because the top is consumed by the bottom.
and think of it as a 1 in their system, like a computer. You got 0, you got 1, you got 2. Well, you take 1 and you split it, it becomes 2, and that's their system. It's all about separation. But what I was going to show is the center point. So that would be, that'd be like your 1D, your 2D, 3D, 4D, 5D. And even like a guy I've always really liked to listen to is Howdy Mikowski. He'll go in and say, well, why would we want to go to 5D? D, what does that word mean? Division, divide,
Devil.
death, devil.
It's not
destruction.
dimension at all.
Well, they want us.
Dimension is split mind.
If we're upside down and they want us to go to the higher, because if you looked at that inverted, because we're in an inverted place right now, they would want you to go lower into meta, which is the final death, or the second death. Coming into this place is the first death, because you're separating from wholeness. I'm trying to write fast so I can keep up with my brain.
Blah, blah, blah.
You know what I mean? But so you put on some goggles on this little guy, and then you go into meta, where it's this system, this chaos system of positive and negative polarity, and it's what do we call it, Jared? We call it squared. Go figure.
Yeah, the exponents. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just another simulation within the simulation, man. You don't want to do that. I didn't want to do that. I don't know about you guys. I definitely don't want to do that.
So we want to exit this place. We want out. We want out of this containment. And this would be like the another way I looked at this, because I kind of got interested in the whole timeline spiral subject, like the Christ and crystalline, or the Christ spiral versus the they call it the fatal E, like fatal energy, like you are depleted. Well, that's what we're doing here. Like this is the golden age would be up here, and then the dark age would be down here, and it's just alternating, just like DNA. So we're at this point, right? Like right here, we're getting ready to go to a reset period. And then what comes after the reset? 1,000 years of golden age. What happens after that? Why is it capped? Why does it end? Because they're going right back. And so that's how I see that. Connecting all the dots with what they're telling us we're headed towards, or what we want to go to.
So
Yeah,
all
makes sense.
the
Pretty clear.
catastrophe happening where it crosses.
Yeah, right. That's X marks the spot of exiting this existence.
And that explains a lot of why all the X's are coming up, changing Twitter and all the different
Because this is,
It's the mark of Christ.
if you look at this, we'll say this is the Satan character, Satan, devil, whatever, his reign. This would be like the Christ reign. They're just switching hands, and then that gets into the whole Enki Enlil. Like, you know how to spell reign.
So that's right. Oh, IGN. So is the X and the cross basically the same symbol, only on
Yep.
its side?
Yeah. I came up with the other day that the X is a tilted cross.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, on its side. Like
Yeah.
if you
Yep.
just
And so
turn
they
it
both-
sideways right now, just with what's drawn, you can see it.
Right. And so they both mean mark. And so if you look back in the Bible of the cannibal system, I mean, the Cain and Abel story, the cannibal story, the mark of Cain, the word Cain in the ancient Hebrew meant
Yeah,
spear.
the cube. I was
And
about to say.
Abel meant an idiot, a bumbling idiot. And so Cain was the spear. And so when you spear something or you pierce it, it's meaning that you've conquered it. And so that's the tav was the letter used in the Hebrew to indicate that there had been a mark placed on Cain. And so I looked at the word, I woke up the other morning and the word Vatican was there. And so I was like, all right, let's play with this. And it was the tav of Cain.
The reverse.
Mark of Cain is the Vatican, is the mark of Cain. And so that explains the spear and the horrid things they've done in conquering everything in the whole world. They've changed everyone's culture, everyone's imposed themselves upon it. These are all characteristics of what I would consider our enemy, because we're the opposite. We're the genteel people, the soft ones. I think when we got here, we were so
The meek,
specific.
the meek.
Yeah, the meat, which is meta, is meat, and so we were here to feed them, and that's what their intention was that we feed them. So if there's 5 dimensions on the lower and 7 on the top, that leaves a higher ratio, because you always need more of your feed than you do of the predators. There's always more prey animals, and they reproduce faster and have higher birth rates than prey animals, always.
Wait, say that again. Sounded like you repeated.
In nature, in this plane, all your prey animals, like your plant eaters, all the way from dinosaur days, they were always more in number, reproduced faster, and more effectively than predators. Predators take longer or have lower birth rates, but they consume the prey animals. And so for, like, say, every lion, there's going to be, 50 little deer animals for them to eat on, and then to feed the lion families. But there's always what I would consider imbalance. But in this world, everything does geometrize. It is built on a system of balance, because with the yin yang, there has to be balance, and then alternating currents to go and make a generator, like in a car or on a tractor. It has to have alternating plus minus, plus minus, plus minus, and the magnets put into a circle. And as those things alternate, their reception of electrical energy, then they pulse. And it's that pulsing that causes the generator or a turbine or any kind of a machine thing to turn. And that's how fans work. That's how, anything that spins round and round is that alternating current, which is what they put in our homes, as opposed to direct current, which is what we are.
Yeah.
They've got us on a whole different frequency.
I
What
don't
about
know.
our breathing? Isn't like the inhale masculine and the inhales masculine and the exhales feminine, positive, negative with the heart?
I typically go with the heart's a pump.
The heart's not a pump.
Right. Unless we have 2 hearts, which is why there's one on the left and one more
Actually,
towards
our
the-
heart is a spiral. If you listen to people talk about it who understand the workings of it, they explain it better than I could.
It works in a circle, yeah, but it's got chambers. I don't know how it couldn't be a pump, because it requires a squeezing of one to go into the other. I've got a hole in mine, so that's why I'm
Hmm.
curious as to the idea. I've heard people say it, but I never understood why they say it's not a pump. Because I know when mine is not working properly, I'm nearly dead. So I'm somebody's gonna have to help me understand that one. Why is it not a pump?
I don't know. I've seen like explanations of it, and it makes sense the way they explain it. I mean, we're being told it's a pump, but not everything they tell us is true. So
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I was
Not
under the impression
more-
that the heart does, it is a pump, definitely, but also the way it pumps, it spirals the blood through. So it's kind of like both of those combined, really, I think.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
yeah,
Because there's a transference from one chamber into the next chamber, and the transfer is like the transfer stations at a pump station where it brings one thing in, and then it dispels it out. As far as it going through the entire body in one little pump, I don't know. Sometimes I don't think mine makes it very far, but
where do you shoot the enemy?
Yeah, think about it. On all these movies, like Lord of the Rings, were there anything that has like a big bad monster, big bad guy? Where do they attack it? The heart,
Heart, yeah,
because that is their portal out.
like the target.
Yeah. I mean, you can even go on the word bullseye. Bullseye, not bullseyes. It's the one eye. It's the red devil, the bull worship, the ball worship, the bell worship. It's all the same stuff. Zeus.
I didn't mean to do that. How do I erase that?
You guys can obviously see how my mind works as we're talking about stuff. It just starts to put things out there. Anyway, does all that make sense?
Yeah,
I followed it, yeah, definitely.
I'll close this whiteboard unless somebody else wants to draw something cool or not so cool.
someone leaving?
no, he just says he's going to close the board.
No.
That's funny. It's everything everywhere all at once to distract you from the one place that you need to have the focus, and that's inside of yourself, within, listening to that quiet small voice that is your intuition, that is your higher guide, your own guide, yourself, your higher self.
Your savior.
You are your savior.
Oh.
Not the cops, not any other agency except your own.
Yeah, I remember being a kid, being like 10 years old, watching TV, the X-Files, getting creeped out. What did they say in there? A lie. They said the truth is out there. Nah, man, the truth is inside yourself, Look inward.
And it goes back to the thing that I've often thought, we go to church to learn, and for some this applies, why do you go to church? Oh, to learn morals and what's right and wrong and this and that. I'm like, man,
I don't need somebody else to tell you that.
I wake up every day and know that grape or murder or theft or lying, cheating, stealing, I know all that's bad. I've always known that. I didn't need somebody to reinforce it, tell me, or do any of that nonsense. I didn't need an example to teach me good or bad. Anyway, I digress.
Did your parents?
Children teach adults more some things, man.
Huh, what's that, Kat? What'd you say?
We should listen to children and observe animals. They could teach us so much more than we could probably teach them.
And is why part of their multifaceted, multi-level plan of doing things is to take us away from time with our kids, which is what's happening to me, which is why they put them into school, which is why you have debt and they have to have a 9-to-5 job. And where, years ago, it was just the man working and the wife was at home doing all that work and having time with the kids. Well, now they have to have both parents working, sometimes multiple jobs. You have to have a babysitter or send them to babysitter, what do you call it, nursery, daycare, whatever. It's dividing, which is the MO of any in any enemy or whatever everywhere. It's divide and conquer, which gets
Yeah,
back
and
into
it's there.
why we don't have our powers, why we don't have our full abilities, why we don't have our whole self here is because we have been divided from, I don't even know if we want to get into that, but like the true Eve and the false Eve presentation, stuff like that.
Well, it's that, yeah, probably not right now, but
Okay.
I think if you remember back in the 80s, one of the big things here in the States was a big push by some preacher up in Colorado. And I can't think of his name right now, but it was Focus on the Family. And he was all about strengthening family ties and setting up this particular hierarchical system, that he claims was his Bible version of it or whatever. And, in recent years, I've come to the conclusion that was part of the PSYOP to keep people so ingrained and tied into that whole concept that you must be tied to your family, because I think that is the biggest trap we can fall into, is turning our head to come back here when we're about to exit this program, because our family is not who we've been taught they are. They're not, they may be somewhat related on a soul level sometimes, but sometimes they're just flat not, and they're there to run opposition to our own awakening, and to bring about the torments and the tortures that many of us grew up with. And obviously later it's used to help us wake up, but at the time it's hell, and we do get tormented. And I think that whole thing was designed to keep us tied into the family, because even though Christians, they forget their own Savior in their own book talks about, if you don't hate your children, your parents, your husband or wife, then you're not worthy of me. And what that means is, if you're still vibing on that family vibe and you're so hung up on it that you'll do anything to save the children and save this and save that, which they're all independent people themselves. They don't need us to save them. And some of them can't be saved. They're not from the same place. Some of them are plants. And so what it means is that if you don't separate from them, be unattached, not detached or hating on them or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that our nostalgia for our true homeland is so much greater that our care or even desire to be with our blood kin or whatever here pales in comparison, and that we're okay with getting our own self out of here and returning to our true universe, the true homelands. But that's just my opinion.
A lot of these people's, the real beings' grandparents were like Freemasons and stuff. I know at least one of my grandparents was a Freemason, one of my grandpas. And there's like the blood sacrifice stuff where they'll like sell out their grandchild so they can come back as like a higher up or something on their next life. There's this kind of stuff's going on. In this weird way, kind of like what you're saying, some of the worst gang stalking things I've experienced with noise campaigns when I'm trying to meditate or do energy work is from my family. And it's perfectly timed. They're like Agent Smith. But then it's like they're not even the same people they used to be. Before I learned about Mandela effect, I don't know how to explain it other than that. It's like body snatchers or something. It's some weird. It doesn't make sense, but I'm just saying, it's weird.
I think you're right. I was just thinking about back to the X real quick and the crossing. Like meet me at the crossing, crossroads, the severing, the X, the destroying of oneself, selling yourself, severing yourself from your, we'll call it soul or spirit or consciousness. It's all the same thing. That's just how it just came to me. I don't know if that helps anybody, but it's the severing. And I totally agree with what you're saying, Jared, that I think I've mentioned to you before, like when I hit a certain level of awareness, everybody around me started getting sick or having a stroke or got diagnosed with cirrhosis. So they had to go to the hospital and get all this other stuff. And they just changed. My son passed out at school, supposedly because of dehydration. I'm looking at the boy. I'm like, there's no way he's dehydrated. He looks like me. He's got a little belly to him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. When I do energy work, I'll start building up with like grounding, qigong, breath work, eating the right diet, exercise every day. Start building up high levels of energy and electromagnetism, and stuff activates around me. Family, neighbors, just like it never stops, man. It never lets up. It gets worse. More energy you have, the worse the stuff around you happens to manipulate you.
The reason I see that is, and you're completely right, 100%. The reason that's happening, and just like what I was saying to my daydream experiences, you are tapping into yourself. And when you have all those occurrences happen, they're severing that connection, which is what they do. They don't know how to not divide, because that's what computers do. They sorting houses, Harry Potter hats, all this stuff.
Yeah, and it's siphoning the energy off too. Your electromagnetism on one level, your chi, whatever you want to say. The
It's
system
like
feeds on it as well. The loosh, you know, the loosh.
It's like when you're sitting outside looking over a nice lake and nothing's going wrong. It's a nice breeze and you're calm and you're just sitting and thinking. And then all of a sudden a wasp comes up and gets you to like give a burst of energy to it. And I'm like, it just siphoned my energy, be it fear or startle or whatever. That's how I feel when bugs come around me. I'm like, that little mother just took some energy from me because it knows I don't like it.
Mosquitoes, bees, and wasps. They're like little machines, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even think mosquitoes are natural. I think there's something that they're man-made or something.
They absolutely are. You saw them how they dropped them from the birds in the
Yeah,
sky.
I saw that. That was crazy. There was like millions of them.
Oh,
Wait,
yeah.
what was it? What happened?
They're
They're
dropping mosquitoes out of planes just like they're shooting chemtrails out and stuff.
Well, they're claiming that those mosquitoes have been genetically altered, and so when they breed, they can't produce eggs. But to me, if they go in there,
Again, they openly tell you what they
yeah,
do.
exactly. You're absolutely correct. Absolutely.
They actually just little bit of twist to the story. There you go.
Yeah, that is right.
With a good dose of fear.
Yeah.
So you guys are from United States, yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
When you get the jab, did they make you sign a paper?
When you were saying that, I was trying to remember back when I did it at the hospital. I don't know that I did.
Some of
okay.
them did, like if you went to Walmart or something where they had anybody giving you a shot.
Yeah.
I think they had to sign waivers, but many people did not take it. And so I think that's why they doubled down to put it in the food system so that they could get the ones that refused it, because not everyone took it.
That's why you
The
see all
more
these
the better.
the people like the entertainers and media saying, "Oh, it's all these unvaccinated should be hunted. They should be not allowed to be near anybody. They should be."
Yeah, we're the enemy.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, I can see that a lot. That's happening, not just in that, but that's a big one.
Well, I think that's the TOV for this generation, the mark that is going to alter and connect us to their system. So in my mind, those who feel so led, I will pay dearly for what.
I wonder if my dreams are so manipulated because of the stuff that you're talking about in the food supply since the last 3 or 4 years, because that's when my dream manipulation really kicked up in gear, right around the time that stuff was going on. Now that I think about it, I never got any of those injectable things. So, but this makes sense that it would be in the food supply. I actually think that that's what it was. Now that I think about it, I don't know it.
But I think that's why I intuitively don't shop at the stupid market. I only buy what food I do eat, and I eat very, very little at the farmers markets. So far that seems safe, way safer than buying corporation food. Who knows what's in it? I think maybe there's to some effect, but I only buy like cattle meat, from ranches and stuff. And I'm sure even that's affected because with all the nanotech and the, the heavy metals and all that falling to the ground, and then the cows eat the grass, and it's just gets into the system
It's gonna get in there either way, and I think that's
somehow. Yeah,
all the way back to
It's
standing
like-
their own sovereignty and speaking it out. If they can put curses on us, then by God, we've got the power to shoot that crap right back at them. And that we will stand strong in that. And the cliche, I do not consent. I don't. And so I do. I stand out in my yard, and with my hands, I push back. I clap my hands. These are very powerful tools in the spiritual realms.
yeah,
Not so
I do that
here.
too. I also bless my food, for lack of a better word. I
Right.
put my intent, and I change the frequency with my own intent.
Exactly.
That is correct. So when we have thoughts being inserted, I hear the blips and the squalls in my ears, and I will stop and I will say, no, I do not consent. Get the hell out of my head. And then eventually it goes. And the same thing with speaking to things of blinding the eyes of my enemies. I do. I speak it out all the time. If my enemy is a particle in that food, then I will speak blindness on it, to where it will have no effect in this body, whether I ingest this or that or the other thing. It will have no effect, because I think it's
Absolutely.
consumption
Because
of the-
remember, this is actually scientifically proven. Remember the double slit experiment?
Yes.
You know,
Exactly.
you know
Yes,
that?
exactly.
Yeah.
Great point.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. So we've got
Yeah.
to use our voice properly. They want to shut us up because they don't want us, A, remembering who we are, or B, realizing how much power we have, and C, they sure don't want us to stand up and use it. And so they want to downtrodden and keep us treated badly, and harmed by everything that can be thrown at us. And as I've started standing in my own power and pushing all that crap back, it has happened less and less. And I see people around me that are still wallowing in it and can't understand why, but they have something in common with it. It is energetically, not that they're calling it in, but when they're on the same frequency of woe is me, and why is this always happening, and oh, doom, despair, and agony on me, then they're calling those things in. And they just said free lunch, and then they hang up the sign, and everybody comes and joins in. And for the past few years, when I become aware of it, I see what you're doing, and then I start kicking it back out. But we ingest the food stuff, and then with these frequencies in the air, they're going to activate this. I had that insight several years ago. I still stand by it, that they're waiting for some type of a big activation, and that's when we will see
All hell breaks loose.
everything,
Everywhere at once.
the zombie doodad and all that crap.
Zombie apocalypse, man. It's gonna happen.
Yep.
I know. Are we bringing it on by just saying things are going to get
Yeah,
worse? Are they going to
listen.
get worse because we're
No.
saying that? Are we
No.
putting our
You know,
into it?
No,
Hear me out on
even,
that.
even if they do not intend to start some zombie apocalypse, for now there's so much movie films about that our whole consciousness will create that.
Okay.
See?
That's what I'm thinking.
no,
Okay,
Yeah.
so there's
your intention's not
Even
there.
if elites don't want to intend that.
I don't intend it. I intend to
No.
stand against it. I will not energize it at all. I am not giving my
I know.
consent.
it goes back to conscious awareness. Like,
Yeah.
you can be unconscious and not know any of this stuff is happening, and then once you are aware of these things happening, you then consciously stand against it, therefore not feeding it, and that gets into the collective conscious, the collective subconscious, and then also the awakened aware.
Absolutely. That's what I'm trying to say. Yes, thank you.
So us talking about it
It's
is
neutral.
not feeding it. We're
Right.
coming from a neutral, aware, conscious perspective rather than, did you see what happened on the news today? Oh my gosh, Betty Billy did this. I
Oh,
can't
and we're going to
stand
be so bad.
oh, fear. You know,
Yeah.
it doesn't feed them. It doesn't go polarized.
For
to-
us, yes, you're right. I'm talking general population.
Yes,
You
you're
are
right
correct.
there.
You are-
Yes.
You
Absolutely.
are a consciously high perspective. You have it. But the average person is not like you.
And that's why we are the way showers. If you want to call that a name, give it a name, which we don't, none of us like titles as it is, but we are positioned to help those who seek, we'll call it the more or more.
After this event or something.
We're here for a reason. And that's why the programming of the self-deletion, they want us to take ourselves, if we're lighthouses and the world goes dark, well, the less lighthouses we have to deal with from an enemy's perspective, the better. So they want us to take ourselves out and quit changing their game to an end. Does that make sense? So when something does happen, we will shine so bright that we're all being led up to a certain point, and it's very obvious that we're being guided by the Spirit to do the things and talk to the people and find these resonant frequencies within the other beings, the true beings, from the homelands here. There's a reason for all that, and I think that reason is going to be there will be others who didn't see as deeply as we did, and that'll be their opportunity to ask questions, and we can guide them. We're not going to tell them they have to do this or that, but we're going to give them information and knowledge and truth, and that then will be their own judgment point where they can choose to see further, or they can go with everybody else. And we cannot control somebody else's will, but we can answer questions. We can be a quote unquote God. But I like the word way shower. I think that's more our role here, and to get the heck out of it.
Now that is my number one priority. I mean, I do not want to mess with their free will.
It's the same idea.
Absolutely.
Carrie speaks really well to this. It's like, and I made a little tagline for a topic for a video that we're basically getting into here, but it's getting past the past. Meaning, we get so caught up in, oh, well, I got a DUI, I'm a bad person, or I had this happen to me, or that happened to me, or she did this to me. Okay, well, in the limited perception that you had at that point in time in the past, can you really judge yourself or the others, be it your ex or whoever, for doing what they did, knowing that they also had a probably more limited perception of what was happening? So why would you play judge and jury over someone else? Let them do that on their own time. And that's the whole perspective of keeping it with, okay, we got to go soon, guys. Sorry. Because we got to open the restaurant back up. But does that make sense? You guys, like, why judge somebody for their actions when you yourself at that point weren't aware to the level you are now? Just let it be. Like, move past the past.
There's different levels of gnosis, for sure.
That's the whole narcissistic thing, and the egotistical people. Like, they want to be stuck in these things and gaslight you and blame you and not work on their own inner self, their own healing, their own dark night of the soul. And they just want to be stuck in that repetitive fear. I'm gonna say it's his fault, not my fault. Yeah, it's just a self-eating system that way. You guys got me all kind of energized. I appreciate it. I was telling Carrie, I'm tired. I don't even know what to talk about. And now I feel like I've dominated the conversation for the last hour, so I apologize.
Oh, I've been really up since yesterday afternoon. I just had this big joy come inside. And then this morning also, just it's not, anything outrageous or anything like that. It's just like a knowing. I don't know how to explain it, but it's very peaceful. And so I just want to thank each of you for being here, because I think that, we may all be finding our tribe, if you will.
Yeah, this was another good one. I really enjoy this. I have a family that I live with, my biological family, but I have no friends in this world except for online. So this makes me feel like I have some kind of community here. So thank you, everybody.
Likewise.
Yeah. I just found out about a friend that I've just been friends with for the last few months, and I just found out so much stuff about her that is like not good. I'm sad about it because, I mean, she's, being deceitful and she kind of ripped me off. And then I just found out she's like a millionaire. Her father left her like $9 million or something. And she has an account and she took money from me and was supposed to, do something, and then she never did it, and then she never gave me the money back either. And I don't know how to go forward with it. So I
That's
guess
messed up.
somebody came up to me the day before yesterday and was telling me like that her and her associates, she said, you should stay away from them because they're talking behind your back about,
Yeah.
so
Sounds like I know.
but these things, like my friend was explaining to me, and I'm sure it's true of you guys too, that like when our Merkaba is shining so bright, they're blinded by it. They
Yeah.
can't handle our light. And so then they're going to try to break us down and make us look like the bad guy and whatever, to like cut our head off to make them taller.
Everything here does that. Yes, exactly. And it makes us look like the bad guy, or makes us look unstable when we try to talk
Yeah.
about all this information. They'll call us crazy, but
Yeah.
they're the ones that are crazy, dude. It's an inverted realm.
Mhm.
Yeah, we got to lose the attachment to those things and give it no energy.
True love allows, if it's meant to be from a resonance standpoint,
Yeah.
it'll come back.
And we got to know when to cut those people off. It's better to enter the kingdom of heaven without your eye or your hand. In other words, the things that bring you harm, get shut of them, cut them off. My grandma always said, get shut. So,
But it's like the first friend I thought that I had made in like years, because I used to have lots of friends. Now I have no friends other than people like you guys online, but not like in real life. We're in my neighborhood here. It's and then I wasn't expecting like that to happen or anything. I wasn't aware of it, and then just all these things started creeping in, and I
think
left
we're
something
intentionally
at her house, and she let somebody steal it and didn't question him and get it back from me or anything. It's just all these different things are adding up, and it's like, well, there goes that friendship.
we're intentionally isolated to not have friends, to not be able to make money easily, to not get whatever things in the realm material, to have a harder time here. It's all manipulated.
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And so they see that, and then they think they're better than us because they have more, or they're not in our situation. Like, I'm in a fucked up situation here. It's like ridiculous. And it's like every day it seems like it's something else.
Had those things not transpired for each of us on our own journey, we wouldn't be to this point.
Yeah,
So
we would grow. It's forcing us to
you know how they
look
say,
at
like,
things, question things.
they say be grateful for what you have, for the day that you have. That has been hijacked as well. But it's almost like be grateful that these things transpired. You are still here. You do require a lot less. And if those things didn't happen, you probably wouldn't be as aware as you are now. You wouldn't be connecting to other people that are resonating at the same level you are. And also, it gives you the opportunity to, I don't want to say go within, because everybody says that to a degree. I say it a lot, but to reflect and to realize it's like almost like you're being prepared. Like you wouldn't be able to look into these things and cross off all these.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're getting prepared to be something that you can't perceive because we've been cut off. And that's awesome in a weird way. So
what if we will learn to use those events and the people that we find we're drawn to, find out the salient characteristics that are common to each of them, and then examine ourselves and ask ourselves, why am I drawn to these people? What is lacking in me right now that I feel like I need to have this kind of person in my life? Am I insecure? Am I needing encouragement? What's up with this? And then minister healing to your own self. And then you lose the need to have people like this around, because we keep repeating these patterns. I did for years and years, and I still do now, because things will be presented to me. And I think it's the entities or whatever, to see, Carrie, are you serious about this? Are you going to be strong enough to stand against it? Are you going to be able to do what you say? And I'm like, I'm getting there, not there 100% now, but I'm tickled to see others on that journey. And maybe some of those things that we talk about will be helpful in clearing out our own energies. We've got to protect our own energy with everything that we have. And on an energetic scale, our battle is not against flesh and blood. It is against spirits and principalities and evil forces of darkness in high places. It's not against Brandon or Joe Blow or, you know, Virginia Woolf or anything like that. It's against these entities that are vibrational consciousnesses or energetic intelligences that are pushing the buttons, and they gave us a suit that has buttons, you know, and so I've turned all my buttons off. I never activated them in the first place. And so I've just, you know, if I have to put in my mind a lead shield in between there, then so be it. But it's inaccessible, and I keep my hedge of protection around me, and I try to remember to do it at all times. And even if I don't, I already know I'm protected anyway. But anything that happens now, I flip the script, and I use that to ask myself where I must have a hole in my armor somewhere. Where is it, and how do I fix it?
All right, guys, we got about 1 minute or 1 or 2 minutes. If there's anything you want to throw out there, go ahead. This is the time, and then we're gonna probably stop recording and we'll pick it up next time. So
I was just gonna say that was a great thing that you said, Carrie. I understood everything you said, and I totally agree. So, yep.
It just reminded me when you said that about throwing up a lead wall or whatever. Like, I was actually searching out, like going to dentists, trying to find a lead, you know, the lead things they put over you when they do the x-rays.
Oh yeah,
It's a protection thing.
absolutely.
Like now I'm using shungite, but like that is a big piece of lead in there, I'm sure. I mean, or pieces. It's probably just like a powder, right? I don't know if I'd want to sleep on it. I don't know how heavy it would be.
They're kind of heavy. I was trying to figure out a way to melt some and then coat very lightly, like paint it onto a cap or a vest.
Yeah. I mean, you got to know that's why they replaced the lead paint.
I know, that's what's up, Brandon.
Unleaded paint. So
well, do you remember the children in the ghettos just grazing on wall paint? Because I don't.
No.
That's what they told us in the news.
Oh, yeah. All of a sudden, it's a thing. Everything, you know, they do some kind of thing to protect us when it's the total opposite.
Well,
taking away any protection we might have.
Because that was when they were doing the testing their DEW system. And I don't know if you remember the news story, but I do. Some old boy sitting in his house, and it said they called it spontaneous combustion. Guys, that's a microwave beam that cooks you from the inside out and leaves your clothes unaffected and the couch unaffected. And that's what all that was about. And so that was why they got rid of the asbestos in paint and asbestos siding. It wasn't because people were going out and snorting their walls. It's because it wouldn't allow them to be able to use their heat sensors to locate people inside the building.
I use my microwave. I have it disconnected and I use it as a Faraday cage.
Yeah.
I put my phone and iPad in there overnight, and then I'm at effect probably by the cell towers, but there's like kind of no getting away from them here. I mean, it'd be nice to be on a farm like Jared. How close is your closest cell tower?
Now there are actually some light workers that help us how to combat that technology. Thank God.
Oh, that's good.
Who does?
Yeah. Some light workers.
Some light workers.
Morphic fields. Do you know morphic fields?
Do you? I don't.
I know a little bit.
Morphogenetic fields. Yeah.
Now there are some light workers who put these morphogenic fields into audios, just like a file, audio file. They are able to do that. I use them and they are very effective.
They are very powerful sometimes, the morphogenic audios. I use them on a daily basis. It's pretty cool.
Now, there are some creators who provide help with the protection from, G technology.
Mm-hmm.
All 3 to 5,
From what technology?
5G.
Oh, 5G. Okay. They're already
Mhm.
going into 6G now, aren't they?
Yeah,
It's just G, just amplified. It's if you look at the word frequency, you get several different renderings of it. It can be to free the Quincy. When Quincy is etymology says that it means that it's the fifth born generation of the inheritors. And so I think that's us. We're the fifth generation of the ones who are rightfully the heirs of the system. Of course, the enemy thinks they're the rightful heirs. And so, but I think this is going to be for us, we can see it as this is the time to free the Quincy, and they don't want us to be freed. And so they use frequency to keep us retained in this prison camp, prison system. Anyway, that's just thoughts.
All right, guys, I'm going to stop it right there. I think that was an awesome talk. I appreciate each and every one of you being part of it. And I hope I said it right.
Thank
Thanks,
you, guys.
Johan, we're going to we're trying to do these more regularly. I think the next one we're going to do is either going to be Saturday or Sunday morning here in the States.
Sunday's better for me because I have no food and I have got to go to the farmer's market. I haven't.
What time
plan on
is it
that.
in Turkey?
What time is it right now?
It's 1 a.m. actually. It's good.
Oh, what part?
We use
so
Central Time. Central Time. Yeah, it's
So
2:30 Central Time. Yes.
Yeah.
It-
Yep.
Yeah,
ready.
that's good.
222
for me.
here in Washington.
It's 4:30 here, basically. So we'll probably do one Sunday afternoon.
Okay, that'd be
Okay,
good.
thank you.
Then I can come.
All right, guys. Take care. We'll talk to you
All right, everyone
Take
have
care,
a
everyone.
wonderful day.
bye.
You too.
Take
Keep
care.
smiling.
Bye bye.